Hey everybody. So I wanted to do a quick video about something that I experienced recently that I thought maybe would be some help to someone else, and also be a product review on something I never tried at the same time. I have a 2001 GMC Yukon that developed an issue with the power steering, where the power steering pump was working fine, everything was still functioning properly, but it was making a terrible noise. The fluid was not foaming, but it was making a bad noise, and the fluid was really burnt and black looking. So what I did was I changed the fluid out. I bought me a small transfer pump from Harbor Freight. You can use a turkey baster. I've heard of people using that. And I sucked all the fluid out of the reservoir of the pump that I could get out. I poured in fresh fluid, and I let that run for several minutes. I turned the wheel from lock to lock each side, made sure I got all the air out, and then I repeated the process. So I would suck the fluid out, put fresh fluid in, crank it up, let it run. Sometimes I would maybe drive it down the road a mile or so and come back, and I cycled that fluid out 4 or 5 times, and it actually quietened down. Over the next couple of days, the whine came back, so I figured the pump was toast. I went ahead and ordered another pump from Advanced Auto Parts. The only thing that they had available at the time was a remanufactured pump. They did not have a new pump available for that truck, and I didn't want to wait to order it from Rock Auto because the truck was down. I had used this type of pump before. It's made by A1 Cardone, and I used to be in the parts business years ago, and I had quite a few issues with A1 Cardone pumps. I actually went through 6 at one point on a particular car that I had, and could not find a pump that would not whine. And finally, after putting the 6th pump on, it quit whining. So I was reluctant to use this pump, but it was all that I could get at the time, and so I did that. And immediately when I put that pump on, it had a whine to it. On that particular truck, it takes about 2 to 2.5 hours to put the pump on. You have to take a lot of stuff off, and it was a lot of labor to get to it. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me that this pump is whining. Not as bad as the old one, but it was whining. So I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a few days, let everything kind of seat in and kind of see how it goes, because I really didn't want to have to change that pump out again. So I gave it several weeks, and it progressively got worse. And I was debating what I want to do. I called Advance back. I told them the problem I was having, and they were like, well, you know, we're having some supply issues right now, so the only thing we can offer you is the same type of pump. So I started looking on YouTube and looking online to see if I could find something that would work to maybe get me through this situation without having to change this pump out. And some of you may be asking, pump had a warranty on it, and yes, it does. That wasn't the issue. It was a limited lifetime warranty on the pump, but the issue was I didn't want to have to go and take all that stuff back off again to do that and possibly still have the same issue. Some of the videos I watched also said that a lot of your power steering pumps are vane type pumps, which means they have little wafers in there instead of gears that churn the fluid up and pump it to where it needs to go. And so I was thinking, well, if I could find an additive that would maybe cushion some of those vanes, if they had some play in them, maybe that might help. So I saw some people that had reviews on this Lucas power steering stop leak, and I decided to give it a try. So I went to the parts store and I bought a small 12-ounce bottle, and it mainly advertises stop leak. It says power steering stop leak, guaranteed to stop all seal leaks or your money back. And then it also says on the back that it is formulated with additives to stop problems in your power steering units. Eliminates rough spots in your power steering. Limit 2 bottles. So anyway, this stuff was like $14. And I said, I'll spend $14 and not change that pump out again. So bought it, came home, got my little pump out, sucked out the fluid I could get in the power steering reservoir, and put this treatment in there, topped the rest of it off with fresh power steering fluid. And I'm going to tell you what, I was very surprised that when I cranked the truck up, it had no noise at all. We've been driving the truck for a few days now. The noise has not returned. It always seemed to show up whenever the weather was warmer. It's probably about 85 to 86 degrees outside today here in South Carolina. But it always seemed to make more noise when the truck would warm up or when the power steering pump got warm. But ever since I put this in, it has been terrific. And so I wanted to let people know that if you've got a whine in your power steering pump, try this first, because my regret is I wish that I would have tried this before I changed the pump out the first time, because the pump was working fine. It just had a whine to it. So maybe if I had used this, I would have saved the time and money for changing that pump out. But also, if you've got a pump that you just bought that has a whine to it and you don't feel like changing it out again, you might want to try to give this stuff a shot and see how it works for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody.